Okay, so recently my interest for AKs has grown. So naturally, I wanted to pick up some Bakelite magazines. They're kind of pricey, so I searched for a while until I could find one that I was willing to spend the money on. And after that, I got a couple more. It's kind of like a disease. I picked up a Russian Bake bayonet, some pistol grips, handguards, and it's kind of addictive. So anyway, the other day I was doing a video where I was rolling around like a funny spoof, like Spetsnaz video with a shovel, and I had a suggestion on my videos for a Spetsnaz Machete. And I remember seeing these back in the day, but I was not willing to spend the money or just didn't have the interest at the time to purchase one. So as soon as I saw the video, I'm like, hey, let me go see if I can find one of these for sale. So I looked and I found one. I only found two online for sale. The other one's still there. It's currently $420 shipped. I got this one for much less. Now, these were called the Spetsnaz Machetes. They were also called the Uvsr or the Taija 1, TAJGA, or TAIGA, different spellings. I guess these were produced in the 90s and they were meant to go to Spetsnaz and pilots, but after the fall of the Soviet Union, Russia could not afford to purchase these from the manufacturer. So they got warehoused, and pretty much what happened is the company decided to import them. So they repackaged these things in these boxes. They were like a whitish bluish, and they were calling this a a tool for rescue operation, like a extraction rescue type tool. So that was 2012 when they were repacked, and that's why some people have the misconception that these were sold initially as a rescue tool because of the packaging from 2012, and that was new packaging that packaged the old Soviet item here. So these were developed and are indeed for pilots and for Spetsnaz. So I'll go over a couple of quick things so you guys can get an idea what you're looking at. Alright, the blade length is 9 3/4 inches from there to the handguard. The handle is 4 3/4 inches. Overall, it's about a little bit more than 15 inches. You have a hole here. Supposedly you can loosen nuts with that or put a rope through it. All kinds of stuff. I guess a smaller one you can form arrows, and there's a couple different things. But this hole is like a 1/2 inch by 3/4 inches. The smaller hole is 3/8 of an inch. In this handle here, there is an awl. And there's a storage hole here, like those old school cheap survival knives you would find. So you have an awl here. You can flip it around and reattach it like that. There, it has O-rings. It also looks like it has something that could be used as a chisel or a screwdriver. This hole here is 3/4 inches diameter, and it's about 2 3/4 inches deep. Now, this isn't full tang. The handle is hollow, so the way this is attached is there is a nut in the bottom. See if I can get this. There's a nut in the bottom, like an old survival knife. This tube goes up and pinches in and flattens to the blade. The blade comes down and goes into a threaded nut, a threaded kind of like a screw. The nut screws over that and sandwiches that together. That is not like the best probably design, but apparently the manufacturer had no problems with these when they were fielding these and testing them out. So I may take that apart and clean it, but it looks like it may have some type of like rock set or some type of cement on there. Let's see a couple more features on this. Yeah, you can see these are serialized with the Russian alphabet. Has like a blood groove or like a weight savings type thing milled out. There's a smaller hole here. It's pretty interesting. What you can do with that is you take a small string. See if I can do this on camera. Okay, so I had to go off camera to fix that. Alright, so you can see these numbers right here. Those are degrees from 0 to 90, because math doesn't change no matter where you're at, except maybe these days. But so what you would do is you would angle this up and look down the spine of the knife and look up at an object like a tree or a building. You can put this to 45 degrees and then measure on the ground the distance to the object, and then you would know about how tall it was. And I guess you could see grades, or if you were pretty good with math, you could figure out a few things. I'm using that. You can also use a paper clip, but for the life of me, I could not find a paper clip. So the other features it has here is some type of serrations. I've heard those are for bone, for cutting grass, almost like an old sickle or something. You have a little grooved piece here. You have a saw back, and those are pretty sharp. And I don't know if somebody sharpened this, but probably the sharpest part of this right now is right here. I actually cut myself while I was cleaning it off because I was under the impression that it was going to be dull, but it wasn't. So those are in centimeters, in case you had to do some measurements. One of the things that kind of drew me to wanting one of these was the handle. This is a Bakelite. This is getting real collectible, and the mags and stuff are going for a lot of money. You have a little lanyard hole loop, handguard, and I've heard people complain that these are kind of heavy or kind of cumbersome, and it's actually fairly light for this type of tool. Like a hatchet or something, or a bigger knife would weigh just as much as this. And it's kind of a blocky handle, and it might not be ideal. It could be slick. It's not very textured, but if you were wearing gloves, I could see that working. I'm not going to use this for like around the house chores or anything. I bought this purely for collector value. Now, let's see. Some of the things I've heard is you can tie a rope through this hole and throw it over a wall, and it would like lock into the wall, and you could climb up. I don't really see that working. I see a machete coming back over the wall and smacking you in the head or your buddy. So I don't think I would try that. So let's see what else I have. Oh, the blade, some type of really hard carbon steel. I've seen online where people have said what kind of steel they think it is, but it is prone to rust. So if you have one, you need to make sure it stays oiled. Carbon steel. I don't know if I mentioned it before, but the way they did import these in 2012, they labeled it a search and rescue tool, and so it was not a weapon, so that's why they could import these. Alright, so that's just a look at this. Haven't found many of these for sale, so these are fairly rare. If you can find one of these for a good price, I would go ahead and I would grab one. Now, these are selling right now for between probably $270 and $400 plus, depending on condition and if it has a sheath or not. So, kind of think about that before you start looking. And if you find any deals, if you find anything for cheap, like $50 or $100, I would definitely pick it up. And if you're not going to pick it up, shoot me a comment on here, and I will probably pick it up. But that's all I got. I think this is really interesting. I think this is going to have a lot more collector value in the future. And who knows, if the price is right in the future, I may sell it. If you do come across a sheath for these, those are even more rare. So if you find one of these with a sheath, they may want a premium for that sheath. Now, there's a black sheath that was made for it to be imported with. I think those were US made, but there's like an olive gray color sheath that was made for these in Russia. If you can find one of those with a little pocket on the outside, those are fairly rare, so grab one of those. This is a sheath that the person that I bought this from had. They had this for 10 years. So as far as I know, mostly what I've heard is I found a few things on forums where guys were doing group buys and importing these from Russia, either from knowing somebody or, you know, somebody told them about them being for sale. So there was some group buys. I saw a link on Sportsman's Guide where they had them in stock, and I can't remember what the price was, but I probably should have bought one then while they were in stock. But pretty rare. There's a bunch of debate of what this was actually used for, and again, this was repackaged as a rescue tool. This was originally intended for the military, for the Russian Spetsnaz and pilots, as like a search evade type tool, kind of strapped to their ejection seats or whatever type of packs that they have. All right, that's all I got. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and I know there's other videos out there, but I thought that I would make one because you don't see these every day. And I have scoured the internet looking for more, and I can only find one on the internet for sale. I'm sure if people that have one are offered a premium price, they'd probably sell it. But for right now, they're rare, and they're not making any more. So if you get a chance, go ahead and drop the money and pick one up. All right, have a good one. Later.